mercy upon us.
Lord, have mercy upon us. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. God forbid that I should glory, save in the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech thee graciously to behold this thy family, for which our Lord Jesus Christ was contented to be betrayed and given up into the hands of wicked men, and to suffer death upon the cross, who now liveth and reigneth with thee and the Holy Ghost, ever one God, world without end.
Amen.
Oh, how sad and sore distressed, now was she that mother blessed, of the sole begotten one. Deep the woe of her affliction, when she saw the crucifixion of her ever glorious Son. Station 1. Jesus is condemned to death. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. There he stands, the young Galilean prophet, beside Pilate, in the balcony of the praetorium. In the night just past, he has suffered betrayal. He has been dragged from one tribunal to another. He has been insulted, slapped, and spit upon. Most recently, he has been stripped, bound to a column, and flogged by 2 legionaries, each wielding a set of thongs weighted at the ends with pieces of lead. Now nearly flayed alive, his blood soaking through the purple cloak they put on him, the long thorns of the crown of mockery digging into his head. His face streaming with blood, he stands. Pilate has evidently hoped to arouse the pity of the people. Gesturing toward his prisoner, he says, "Behold the man." But the mob, incited by the chief priest and their henchmen, are howling like souls in hell. "Crucify him! Crucify him! May his blood be upon us and our children." Pilate is washing his hands. Now he nods to his lieutenant to give the order to remove the prisoner. It is the death sentence.
Condemned to death? But Pilate said he could find no fault in him. What a senseless miscarriage of justice. Why should he die? Why? And he hasn't opened his mouth, just stands there, looking out over the crowd. Oh God, he's looking at me. He's looking through me, seeing me as I really am. What deep sorrow is in his eyes. Oh yes, meek and silent man of sorrows, how far I am from you. I who gloat over every chance to get even for the slightest reasons. I who have a heart seething with spite and rancor. I who burn with murderous hatred on the least provocation. I cannot face your deep and silent look of love and forgiveness. I understand now. I am the reason you must die. Have mercy on me, Lord, and heal me of the putrefying sores of sin by the merits of your love and obedience.
Who on Christ, dear mother, gazing, pierced by anguish so amazing, born of woman, Station 2, Jesus takes up his cross. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. The Roman centurion gives his orders, and the legionaries assigned to the task begin. They tear off the purple cloak. He shudders deeply. The blood begins to flow again. The soldiers replace his own clothing, which quickly becomes stained with blood. Two men come with the crosspiece of the infamous instrument of brutal Roman justice, the cross. As they place it on the shoulder of the condemned, he staggers under its weight and takes hold of the rough timber to steady the burden. Two legionaries take the ends of the long rope bound around his waist. Should he show any sign of falling back, they will drag him on. But this prisoner seems almost eager to proceed. Headed by the mounted centurion, the column comes out of the praetorium and the death march begins.
Yes, Jesus, in your love for sinners like me, you clasped the cross almost passionately. All through your life on earth, you took the hard way out of love for others. In your public life, you walked the road, sweating through the desert summer, shivering in winter, with no place to lay your head. And now, you go willingly to meet this hard death for love of me. And I, oh God, for love of self, I treat myself to the best, always concerned with my own comfort, filling my belly like an animal with the finest food. And all the while, you, my Christ, are starving in my brothers around the world. Yes, and here in my own land of freedom and in my very own city. And when something threatens my self-satisfaction, I reach for still another cocktail, for one more double shot, to shackle my conscience and cloud my mind. Forgive me, Lord, and heal me of the putrefying sores of sin by the merits of your pain and anguish.
Who on Christ, dear mother, thinking, such a cup of sorrow drinking, would not share her sorrows deep. Station 3, Jesus falls the first time. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. Even though it is late in the morning by now, only patches of sunlight fall into this narrow road between tall houses with their overhanging second stories. The stink of the place is almost overpowering. It is a good thing the way to Golgotha is not long, or this man, in his pitiful condition, would die before he got there. His back and shoulders are a mass of raw wounds from the flogging. The rough wood of the cross bites deep into the flesh. A large patch of bright, fresh blood flowing from his shoulder stains the back of his robe. He stumbles on the uneven paving, and without strength to regain his balance, he goes down on his knees in the filthy roadway under the weight of the cross.
You, my Lord and my God, in this bloody weakness and blur of pain, fall in the filth and garbage of the road to ransom me from my own filth. How often have I muddied with obscene books and dirty shows the mind you created? How many times have I desecrated this body of mine, which you made clean and sacred to your service? And every time I take my filth and I fling it in your holy face and jeer as you stagger and fall. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. Rescue me from the fires of lust, where I shall burn for eternity. Save me, my God, save me.
For his people's sins chastised, she beheld her son despised, scourged and crowned with thorns entwined. Station 4, Jesus meets his mother. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. The soldiers in their red tunics and glittering helmets keep the crowd pressed back against the walls of the building along the way. Surely not all the crowd are curious followers of public executions. Surely some are friends and secret sympathizers, silent out of fear of the chief priest and their spies. But now a woman steps out into the way, a woman of such sweet dignity and such modest loveliness, even in her terrible grief, that it is no wonder that the centurion pauses for her to greet the prisoner. The rumor goes through the crowd she is his mother. As she gazes at the pain-racked body, the bloodied nose, the swollen lips, the thorn-gashed brow, she turns white. These two look deep into each other's eyes, and their arms reach out, one for the other. But the centurion is anxious to finish the day's work without incident, and with rough courtesy, he hurries her away.
In the midst of your anguish, your love still sustains her, while her mother's love for you makes an agony of her longing to help. How different I am in my treatment to those closest to me, those dear people with whose help I should be shouldering my cross. How often do I think to say, "Darling, you look tired, let me help, let me do it for you." How often do the holy words of love well up in my heart to make themselves known to my beloved? How do I respond to those holy words? All too often with coldness, with greedy, self-seeking, even forgive me with a jeer. Only the really strong can afford to be gentle, to be tender. It's the weakling who has to shout and curse to cover up his weakness. Jesus, my Lord, true God and perfect man, teach me to be strong and gentle with your strength, with your gentleness.
Saw him then from judgment taken, and in death by all forsaken, till his spirit he resigned. Station 5, the cross is laid upon Simon of Cyrene. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. We are at the gate of the city now. The procession is moving more and more slowly. Each step this Jesus takes calls forth an agonizing effort, straining the battered muscles, wounding still more the cut and bleeding feet. The great timber with its rough-hewn surface has ground deeply into his shoulder. He slips in the filth of the street and sways, nearly fainting from pain and loss of blood. Afraid that he will lose his prisoner to death before he can be executed, the centurion orders a man going by to take the crossbeam from the condemned and carry it for him. The people are saying the fellow's name is Simon. Well, Simon doesn't seem very enthusiastic, but he's taking the cross. His hands touch the hands of the prisoner, who is looking intently into Simon's face. There is a slight pause, and clearly, in this moment of transfer, something is happening to Simon.
How well I recognize Simon's resentment at his forced involvement. He's probably a loner, with all the loner's defenses, rooted deep in pride. Every man for himself. If some guy gets in trouble, that's just too bad. He wasn't smart. Never give in. The other fellow is always wrong. And if he gives you any argument, cut loose with the sarcasm. Dig him about his poverty, his family connections, his infirmities. O Christ, how often have I twisted the knife in you, in my brothers? I didn't know, I couldn't see you in them. Give me the look you're giving Simon. Help me by your look to see you everywhere.
Jesus, may her deep devotion stir in me the same emotion, fount of love, Redeemer kind. Station 6, Saint Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. We are outside the city now, and the air is better. The day is getting warmer, but it is the sweat of extreme weakness that is running down the bloody, dirty face of the condemned man. The salty sweat stings the open cuts and stings the eyes. Even though not burdened now by the timber of the cross, the man's terrible exhaustion and the pain of his torn body threatened to bring him down. Suddenly now, another woman of courage comes forward from the crowd. She steps in front of Jesus, ignoring the ringing command of the centurion, the foul language of the legionaries. Swiftly, but with great tenderness, she takes a large handkerchief and wipes the blood and sweat and dirt from the prisoner's face. The soldiers push and shove her out of the way, and the procession continues.
The funny little woman with her blazing eyes and her gentle hands. That took courage. And when she gets home, what will the neighbors say? Because some busybody will have told them. They'll say that a woman who's a friend of a common criminal can't live in their block. They are respectable people. They'll make it rough for her. But she won't care. She loves you enough, Lord, to be loyal no matter how tough things get. Not like me. I want everyone to know that I am one of the regulars, that my so-called Christianity doesn't keep me from joining the crowd. Oh no. But for the opinion of a few pitiable, lost creatures, I make a fool of myself and a joke of my God. Jesus, my God, forgive me for being a moral coward. In your compassion, give me the courage to stand with you, to give you my loyalty in all things.
That my heart fresh ardor gaining, and a purer love attaining, may with thee acceptance find. Station 7, Jesus falls a second time. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. How slowly we must go now. The prisoner is so weakened that each moment it seems impossible for him to take another step. The legionaries urge him on, but they are not so brutal about it now. They are more and more afraid that he will die on the way. The curious press as close as they dare. There are always those who seem to batten like maggots on the blood of other men, who watch greedily the torments of another. Now, as the weak and bloody figure pauses and sways, there is an audible gasp from the mob. What little strength he has left is ebbing fast. He goes down on his knees, and the collective stinking breath of the crowd issues forth a long sigh as they push and jostle for a better view. 2 soldiers get him to his feet again. He straightens and, oh God, tries to square those torn shoulders to go on.
Lord, is the terrible pain you suffer in these falls your way of bearing the cost of my vanity, my vainglory? I strut through my little world, taking credit on all sides for the things I have, for the money I have, for my comfortable and cheerful home, my talented children, my friends. I am the center of it all. It all revolves around me. Lord, the thought of your humiliation for my sake makes me ashamed. For what have I got that was not given to me? And what have I got that I couldn't lose tomorrow, completely and utterly, so that, like Job in the Old Testament, and he was a good man, I would be stripped of it all. Lord, teach me by your weakness how helpless a creature I am, depending on you for the goodness in my life.
True repentance, Jesus, when he, Savior, print thy wounds within me, branded on my stubborn heart, as thou bought'st through tribulation, in thy passion my salvation, let me bear therein my part. Station 8, Jesus meets the women of Jerusalem. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. We have almost reached the place of the skull and the finish. But here is a little knot of women, weeping and beating their breast in lamentation. Jesus pauses to speak to them. Where is he getting the strength? This man's will is something unbelievable. What is he saying? He calls them daughters of Jerusalem and tells them to weep for themselves and their children, not for him. He sounds like one of the old visionary prophets, talking in broken phrases about times to come, when men will cry to the mountains to fall on them and the hills to cover them. He is incredible, bone-weary indeed, half dead in his ordeal, and yet still master of himself, still responsive to the sorrows of others.
You are speaking to me, Lord, as you spoke to those weeping women. You are telling me to skip the crocodile tears of false piety. You are saying, pick up your cross and follow me. Follow you, Lord? Where are you going? How your answer strikes home. I am going to die. I too, Lord, I am going to die. I don't like to think about this truth, but it is the truth. Just the same, and now, in this little moment along the way, you offer me the choice. Will I go to die, following you to the end of my life, and dying, having your love and your strength to cling to? Or will I choose the other way, defiant, refusing your call, dying anyway, but dying alone, cursing my human fate and in my final frenzied fear, calling upon the mountains to fall on me, to hide me from the damnation I myself have chosen? O Christ, on your way to die, save me from the wrong choice.
Let me mourn, O Lord, beside thee, for the sake which crucified thee, while my life remains in me. Station 9, Jesus falls a third time. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. We have finally reached the foot of the little hill of Golgotha. Some of the people have hurried on ahead to get the best purchase among the tombs to see the final agony. They are no better than the vultures hovering up there, waiting for the twisting, tortured bodies to twitch into final stillness. The prisoner begins the little climb haltingly, painfully. 2 legionaries haul him along by means of the long rope. He falls again, this time full length, his face pressed into the dust and dirt of the road. Will he be able to get up this time? The soldiers lift the sagging, pitiable fellow to his feet. Again, the tremendous effort to command the mass of searing wounds which is his body. They say that this was the body of a perfect man. Well, maybe so, but no more, no more.
In your weakness, my Christ, you teach me to be strong. How I need your strength to sustain me. I get so tired of the struggle, so tired of keeping track of the kids as they grow up, or so they'll be straight. So tired of trying to be an honest citizen in a cutthroat world. Tired of always being the one to volunteer to take the kids camping or to give a day's work on a parish project. It seems sometimes as though I pour all my effort into taking one step forward along the road with you, my brother Christ, only to discover that I have slipped back 2 steps while I wasn't looking. How I long in my weariness to just forget the whole thing. Yes, to forget you, Jesus, and just drift with the crowd. And then you look at me, and I can't do it. Where else is there to go? Apart from you, I am nothing. Keep me coming, Lord. Please, keep me coming.
Jesus, great beyond all other, turn not from me, heavenly brother. Let me too bewail thy pain. Station 10, Jesus is stripped of his garments. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. In spite of his terrible weakness and the dizziness that goes with excessive loss of blood, the man Jesus has climbed to the low summit of the hill. This is the beginning of the end. It is not very complicated, really. These Romans know their work. First of all, he must be stripped. Crucifixion, a fairly common punishment in these times, is intended to be degrading, humiliating in the extreme. The reactions of a body in the death agony are uncontrolled. This stripping itself now is a horrible business. The fabric of his robe has stuck to his wounds. The soldiers are in a hurry to finish now, and they handle him brutally. It is strange that their prisoner has not fainted at sharp, enveloping pain which must be sweeping over him like fire. There he stands, stripped, clothed only in his own blood running down.
Yes, Lord, there you stand, stripped of everything for my sake. Your friends have run away. Your honor and your reputation have been made a laughingstock, and now even your clothes are torn off your body. Exposed to agony and shame, you have nothing. You are nothing. As the psalmist said of you so long ago, I am a worm, not a man, a bad joke among the people. Do you accept all this, my Lord and my God, to make up for my greed? Each time that I've prostituted my living soul for money, hungered after the golden goddess of wealth, and sworn to have her no matter what the cost. My God, forgive me for this pain I've worked upon you.
Take beneath the cross my station, and in all the desolation, so unite myself with thee. Station 11, Jesus is nailed to the cross. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. They have laid Jesus on his back at the foot of the upright beam of the cross, which is permanently fixed in its place. His shoulders are on the crossbeam. He has refused the drugged wine they would have given him. The executioner measures with his eye the arm's length, and setting the spike at the wrist with one blow of the great hammer, drives the spike deep into the wood. It needs only a few good taps to fix it firmly. Amazingly, Jesus has not cried out, but his face is so contorted, it is terrible to look at. Pain must be blazing through that hand and up that arm. Most men faint at this juncture, but not this one. He seems to have willed to remain conscious. Now the other arm is stretched out and the procedure repeated. Now they lift the ends of the crossbeam, make him rise and move backward against the stake. The ropes and pulleys are ready. With one dreadful cry, he dangles in excruciating agony from the nails in his wrist. It is the work of a moment to bend the knees and crossing the feet and avoiding the heels to drive the third spike through the feet into the lower part of the stake. Having gone through so much already, he must suffer the fullest torture.
The Lord of heaven and earth stretches his pain-racked body along the razor roughness of the cross, the bed of agony. Rest well upon your chosen bed, my Lord. I have made my choice too, and it isn't yours. My bed is king size and deep with comfort. I clothe my body in silk and softest wool and house it in luxury. The beautiful car with the tiger-purring engine in my garage is the most expensive on the block. Don't talk to me of charity, of those who waste away to death in malnutrition or who stump along on half limbs through endless leprous days. Monstrosities and nightmares best forgotten. Don't mention the cries of sickly orphan children in a bombed-out wreck of a home. Cries multiplied 1,000 times around the world. Above all, don't, oh God, don't make me look at you upon the bloody tree, you, King of all the poor in spirit. Don't make me listen to you, dying for love and saying, you must love these little ones as I have loved you.
Let my soul thy death declaring, thy unsparing passion sharing, count thy bruises one by one. Station 12, Jesus dies on the cross. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. It is now almost the middle of the afternoon. It was around noon when they lifted him up. Very soon after that, the terrible thirst began, and it continued. He refused the sour wine offered in a sponge. The frightful cramping in the muscles began. His biceps became strained and distended. His fingers grotesquely angled. On his thighs and legs, the muscles formed monstrous, rigid bulges. The horrible spasms became generalized. The stomach muscles tightened agonizingly. The sides, the chest, the neck, all were involved. His face turned blue, and we knew he was asphyxiating, that his lungs were loaded with air that he could not exhale. His eyes rolled back, and we thought it was the end. But no, with a superhuman effort, he lifted his body by pressing against the nail through his feet. Gradually, the chest muscles relaxed enough for him to get his breath, and then he spoke, praying for forgiveness for his executioners. Several times he has stayed this asphyxiating death with an effort of blazing agony, and each time he has spoken. His mother has been standing by his cross from the first, and he knew it. He has given her into the care of the only disciple to stand there with her. The sky was darkened. The air hangs heavy and foreboding. The crowd is silent and uneasy. The crucified gasp, "It is completed." And now, with a final struggle, the loud cry, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit."
I come before you, crucified lover of all men, and I am bowed and burdened under the weight of all my sin. I have so often nailed you to the cross and left you there to die. I have driven the nails of my hatred and prejudice through your hands and feet, spit in your face the lying and dirty language which befouls my lips, pelted your holy body with the garbage of my lusts, and made a mockery of your selfless love, O Lord, with my greed, my selfishness, my pride. O Christ, my Christ, what will become of me? Where can I hide my shame from your sorrowful glance? I can't bear it. Then must I go the way of all betrayers, down into the stinking, burning pit of hell? O God, my God, do not you forsake me. I am caught in the jaws of eternal death, and only you can save me. Reach out your nail-pierced, twisted hand and touch me, cleanse me, free me from my sins.
Let thy stripes and scourging smite me. Let thy holy cross requite me. Let thy blood refresh me there. Station 13, the body of Jesus is placed in the arms of his mother. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. It is over. The sky is blacker than ever, and the very ground shudders and the rocks crack. The centurion looks around in wonder at these signs, and then at the tattered human remnant sagging on the cross in the grotesque attitude of death by crucifixion. The sardonic Roman face is suddenly luminous with the light of faith declares, truly this was the Son of God. Another soldier comes to plunge his lance into the dead man's side, and now it is necessary to act with haste. The dead body may not hang longer, lest it defile the great Sabbath, which will soon begin. One Joseph of Arimathea, a man of consequence, has gone to Pilate to request the body. A few of Jesus' followers have come to take him down. It is not hard. They remove the spike from the feet and unfasten the crossbeam to lower the body. They take the nails out of the wrist. Now they place the stiffening body in the arms of his mother, seated on a rock. She receives it with profound grief, her silent tears falling like rain upon the lifeless face.
As he gave his all, his everything, in total love for me, so does his mother, for she gave him. O God, don't let all this blood and pain and sorrow be for nothing. I heard the broken words, Father, forgive them. And in the stream of blood and water flowing from this holy rock, cleft for me in the desert of the world's evil, I too can bathe and be cleansed. I too can drink and be strengthened. Mary, Mother of Sorrows, ask your Son to teach me to carry my cross with love willingly. Then will I find him, my brother Jesus, walking with me, carrying more than half the load in holy comradeship. Then will I never be alone in pain and sorrow again, even if I have to hang upon that cross.
When the flames of hell would end me, at the judgment day defend me, gentle Jesus, by thy love. Station 14, Jesus is laid in the tomb. We adore thee, O Christ, and we bless thee.
Because by thy holy cross thou hast redeemed the world.
This is the way it was. The final act is short. Joseph of Arimathea returns quickly with the governor's permission and with a very beautiful, very white, large shroud. With him is Nicodemus, who is bringing myrrh and aloes for the wrapping of the body. Close at hand is Joseph's brand new sepulchre, and he has given it for the burial of the crucified one. What little light is left is fading fast. They must hurry. The friends arrange the body and bind it in the linen shroud. Then, weeping and with every sign of reverence, they place Jesus' body in the tomb. Someone removes the wedge that holds the heavy stone. The stone rolls forward and closes the tomb. Now they are all going away, and this place is left empty and silent.
Empty and silent, Golgotha now. And empty and silent and cold is the tomb. Has my heart been locked up in sin and refusing to open to the quiet knocking of the love of Christ? I have been dead to love and dead to life. O Christ, beat down the door of my resistance. Melt the ice of my stubbornness. Raise me from the tomb of sin to burial in you, to the Christ life. Help me to begin the real fulfillment of my humanity in union with you, my brother Christ, and with my brothers and sisters in you.
Jesus, may thy cross defend me. Savior of the world, who by thy cross and precious blood hast redeemed us.
Save us and help us, we humbly beseech thee, O Lord. Agony, death, and burial, how final it sounds, like the triple tolling of the bell of doom. But you never mentioned these things during your life on earth, Lord, without speaking of a fourth, your resurrection into glory. And you promised that for us too, if we believed in you and believing, took up the cross and followed you along the road to Golgotha. This is your mystery, your paschal mystery, Lord Jesus, which you hold out to us, which you want to share with us, if we will only follow in faith and hope and love. We believe, Lord, that you are the way, the truth, and the life. We trust in your love for us because you proved it on the cross, and we trust in your word because you are God's word made flesh. Because we want to begin to love you, we want to give you the only thing that is truly ours to give, the total gift of self, a gift that can only be given in love. We understand that the road is hard, and we know now that we are not very brave. And so we ask you humbly, be with us on the road, Lord, please, and help us. Bring us finally to the dawn of resurrection.
Let us pray. Almighty Father, who hast given thine only Son to die for our sins and to rise again for our justification, grant us so to put away the leaven of malice and wickedness, that we may always serve thee in pureness of living and truth. Through the merits of the same thy Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord.
Amen.
Now unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and hath made us kings and priests unto God and his Father, to him be glory and dominion forever and ever.
Amen.
Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.